Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping in today. I'm back with a new layout for the Paige Evans design team, and I'm going to be using the Go the Scenic Route collection again. And I'm going to start with this gorgeous paper of perfection. It's paper number 21. It's just hard to describe my emotions when I look at this paper because it's stunning. I'm going to use this cut file, also by Paige. It's called Wild and Free. And I'm going to incorporate this fun stencil, also designed by Paige, that I have not used yet. It's called Leopard Print. And I've got some wild child photos to go with it. My child and her silly face and her wild, crazy hair. She belongs in an 80s hairband half the time, so she's definitely my wild child. So I'm going to try to incorporate the cut file, the stencil, and this paper, and I'm just going to wind up using all the colors. I can't help it. When I look at this rainbow gorgeousness, I'm inspired to use all the colors. And I have a couple of copies of that pattern paper, so I'm probably going to hoard one or two of them, but I decided to use this one, and so I'm going to do it today. I'm going to use white, thick, smooth cardstock as my background, and I'm going to do a lot of mixed media with that stencil. So I'm going to coat it with clear gesso first and prep it for all the stuff I'm going to add to it. So I'm thinking that I want to do the leopard print kind of in a crooked, not diagonal, but kind of vertical way. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put the cut file yet, but I know that's going to be my title and a big design element. So I want the background to have lots of texture and color. So this is white modeling paste. I don't even know if modeling paste comes in a different color. I've only seen white, but I've only also used white. But I'm just using the modeling paste with my palette knife there. Super easy to do if you've never used a stencil or paste. It's pretty thick and creamy, and you just get some on your palette knife there and scrape it right over the stencil, and you get this excellent texture. And whatever the shape is of the stencil, that's what the texture is going to look like. Trying to be careful to not smudge the top portion that I did there. So I'm going to just kind of do some at the top, do some below, and I'm not trying to make it a complete square. The stencil is 6 by 6, so I'm trying to kind of make it kind of not perfect and a little bit on the random side, if that makes sense. So I'm not completely filling out the entire square of the stencil. So this is my third section down here at the bottom. And again, I'm trying to keep the top a little bit lifted so it's not smushing the wet paste that I just did. And once I get this section down, I'm going to give it a rest and let it dry before I add any more. But you can see there already what it's looking like. So I did a little bit more over to the left. And if you touch this when it's dry, it's really rough and bumpy, and it's amazing and awesome. And it's so cool when you start to add color on top of it. It's a neat process to watch. So what I'm going to do is back the cut file. Well, that's a lie. I'm not going to back it. I'm going to trace the letters, cut them out, and then put them back inside the spaces where they go. But I'm going to raise the cut file up so it's above the letters. I've done this technique before. I think it creates a really cool effect. So this part, I enjoy doing this. I like fussy cutting, and it wasn't hard because the letters are easy to trace. I just chose the exact spot on the pattern paper where I wanted, traced it, cut it out with my scissors, and then it's going to go right back inside the letter there, kind of like a puzzle. And I want to try to go in a rainbow order. So I'm going to do the darker pink and then kind of fade it into the lighter pink. And this is the good thing about doing cut files this way, is you can pick exactly the spot on the pattern paper that you want to use. And I didn't really want to cut into that paper, but oh, I'm so glad I did, because now look at the Wild and Free. I love those colors. Gorgeous. And I want to kind of have the cut file kind of at an angle. I don't want it perfectly straight. and then somehow arrange the 3 pictures kind of like that. And so you get the whole cheetah print, which is, you know, when I think of that, I instantly want to scrapbook a wild type of photo, or have a wild child, or wild and crazy, wild and free type of theme. So it's perfect for this cut file. So I'm going to very, very carefully cut some adhesive foam in some teeny tiny skinny strips and cover the entire back of this cut file. This did take some time, but I think the end result is worth it. And it's not hard to do. It just takes some time. But this is just kids craft adhesive foam. I get that from Walmart. And I just have to cut it really, really skinny to make sure you don't see it when you flip it over. But so there we go. Now it's all done. And now it's going to pop up off the page, and I can stick all of the letters kind of inside. So what I'm going to wind up doing is gluing the letters flat onto the background, and then the cut file will be raised up. And it creates this really fun shadowy effect. Great dimension. I love doing that. All right, so I'm going to move that out of the way. I went through all of my Distress Oxides, picked out all the matching colors, and we're going to add some color to this background. I like to just smush, stamp, however you want to say it, the actual ink pad right on top of the paper, spritz it with water, and then use a brush and turn the page this way and that way. And the color just runs and does its thing. Distress Oxides are one of my favorite mixed media things to use as far as ink pads go, because they react with water so perfectly. They blend together so perfectly. And yeah, it doesn't take a lot. I'm using Seedless Preserves, is that dark pink color, and then I'm going to mix Spiced Marmalade, which is orange, with a little bit of Fossilized Amber, which is the yellow color. And these are my go-to colors. I have a nice collection of the Distress Oxides, but when I'm going with a rainbow color scheme, there are just certain colors that always work. And the Seedless Preserves, when you look at the actual cover, it looks like a deep purple, but it is the most gorgeous deep pink. It's the perfect match for the W, that deep dark pink. It's awesome. So I'm going to come in with green. This is Lucky Clover, I think it's called. And what I was trying to do here was a little bit of tone on tone, which means I want the W and the I to be on top of the pink section, and then the L and the D to be on the orangey yellow section, and so on. So I'm trying to kind of match up the colors to where they kind of will go behind the cut file. So for this bluish green aqua section, I'm using peacock feathers and a little bit of, oh, what's that one called? I'll have to look it up. Remind me if I forget. This one is Chipped Sapphire, I believe, and it's a really pretty dark, almost navy-ish blue color. But yeah, I love this technique. I love that it looks messy. You can see the texture from the paste just kind of appears, and how the color just kind of runs all around the raised shapes. I mean, the color and the water, it does the work for you. You know, there's no special way to do this. It's just trial and error. And if you don't feel like you have enough, do what I just did. I didn't feel like the orange was showing at all. So I went back with the Spiced Marmalade, the Seedless Preserves, add another layer, add some more water, and just keep working at it. It's just kind of an experiment. I think every layout I ever make, even though I've done the techniques before, a mixed media layout like this is always just basically an experiment, because you never know how the end result is going to look. I decided to add in some of my favorite things ever for mixed media, which are my shimmer sprays. I'm using a little bit of Cotton Candy Spritz, a little bit of Jenny B Blue Vibes, and that one is Mustard Seed Vibes. It's a deep golden yellow, just to add a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of something extra. I love to mix and match things. So this is what I've got so far. I think that looks really, really cool, and it's going to look even better once I put the cut file and the photos and everything back on top of it. Yep, so yeah, mixed media backgrounds always look like a big hot mess, because they are, you know, it's a mess. But once everything is done, it just kind of all comes together, and it's kind of like that aha moment where you're like, oh, okay, everything just kind of is cohesive now. So now I've got the letters tucked back in there. I think I'm going to do one photo to the left. I thought about putting 2 photos to the left, but I'm going to do it like that and put 2 on the right and then 1 on the left. And I know that that's exactly where I want it to go, so I'm going to go ahead and start to glue. Now, this part was kind of tricky because the background is so textured that the letters, you know, they will glue down, but they're not perfectly flat. And that's okay, because I'm all about the texture. I love texture. But since the cut file is raised up, I wanted there to be a significant difference in the height. So the letters are going to go flat. And then the cut, oh, there's Paige, her little elbow. She had to come give me a kiss. That's my wild child that's in these photos. The letters are glued down now. I'm going to go ahead and add glue to the actual cut file. And I'm using Scotch Tacky Glue in my fine liner bottle, my go-to glue. I love that glue. I've used it for years in that actual bottle. Can you tell? Look how dirty it is. Because my hands are always dirty with color and paint, and yeah. Anyway, all right, now you can see the dimension there. That's why I popped the cut file up. I think that looks really, really cool. I love that. So now my title is done, and the big design element is done. Now it's just a matter of placing the photos and then going through all the embellishments. And if you have seen the Go the Scenic Route collection, then you know how hard that is, because all the things are so gorgeous. I mean, if you love flowers and you love birds and butterflies and rainbow rich colors, then you got to get this collection. And you can do any type of theme. I mean, it's got a lot of travel themes to it, but you can make girl pages, you can make boy pages. This would be perfect for summer, for fall. We're going to be doing probably some Halloween stuff coming up. I mean, you can make it work because there's every color and it's just beautiful. So I thought, since my whole theme here was wild and I had the cheetah print, that I was going to go with some of these little animals. She's got birds and butterflies. And so I'm going to cut a couple of these birds. Now, these are from the cardstock stickers. I'm just trimming off the little white border around the edges. And I'm going to use these birds and kind of make it look like they're propped sitting at a couple of places on the title. And you can kind of see what I was talking about earlier, the tone on tone, how I've got the W on the pink section, and then the D is on the yellow section, and the F is in the green section. I tried to do that as best I could, considering the mixed media kind of runs and goes everywhere. But now with the embellishments, I'm going to scatter the colors, because I felt like the colors are so bold that I wanted the birds to stand out. So I'm going to put the orange and blue bird on the pink W. And then this part, I'm going to do tone on tone again, the stickers. I'm going to add that sticker up at the top that's kind of half pink and orange right there on that section. And then that puffy sticker that says always right under the E for that blue section. This is another sticker. I'm going to start to add a little cluster down at the bottom. I'm going to trim off the white border again. I just didn't want it to stand out as much. The white border kind of emphasizes the whole sticker and makes it stand out a little bit more, and I wanted it to kind of be a little more subtle. If anything on this layout can be subtle because it's so bright and bold. I'm going to use that little turquoise flower sticker from the chipboard. The chipboard stickers in this collection are on that 12 by 12 sheet. And then the 6 by 8 paper pad is awesome for small embellishments. If you will be willing to fussy cut things out, look at all these butterflies you could have, and they're small, so they're perfect for this. I felt like I needed all the animals I could get, since we're talking wild and crazy here. So I'm going to fussy cut out some butterflies and kind of scatter those around the page to where it looks like they're just kind of flying here and there, because that's what my daughter does. She's all over the place. Too bad there's not a picture of a Tasmanian devil, because she acts like that half the time. Do you remember that Looney Tunes back in the day? Yep. That's kind of what she reminds me of. She's all over the place, super fast. All right, what am I doing? I'm creating that little cluster still. I'm adding some thread. That is some dark navy blue thread, because I wanted to kind of bring in the color of the E down there. and I felt like that was a good color to add in that section. I'm going to make sure all the birds are glued down, and just keep working on it. From this point on, it's just kind of finding small things to add. I find this flower from the ephemera die cuts. There's a whole ephemera die cut pack of just flowers. And then, yeah, I'm just trying to scatter colors around, layer a couple of things in here and there, and just try to make each thing pop against whatever color it's on. It's fun to do tone on tone, but it's also fun to kind of do a little bit of that and then mix the colors around as well. And I feel like this is a good example of that. More thread. I'm going to bring in some of the deep pink color kind of here in between these two photos. I felt like it needed a little something right there where the two photos meet in that little corner. So I thought pink thread would do that. I didn't want to add too many things around the photos since my photos they're in color, and since there's a couple of different colors in the photos, I try to be careful with what I add really close to the photo when it's in color, just because I don't want it to get too busy or too distracting around the photo. And you know, the bulk of this layout is very colorful, it's very busy, very textured, so I want to make sure that the photos still stand out, because you know, I say this a lot, that's the whole point of scrapbooking, is to showcase your photo, right? So while doing all this other fun stuff, I still want to make sure that the photos are visible and that they don't get lost in all of the color and all of the embellishing. So I try to kind of keep the colors, or not the colors, the photos free to breathe. I do add a little bit, I think I add a hint of a flower around the edges of a couple of them here in a little bit. I wanted to add more small flowers, so that is again perfect with the 6x8 paper pad. These are two floral sheets from that. One has got that dark navy blue background, this one is on white, and I'm going to just fussy cut out a couple of these flowers to add in a couple spots. Yeah, I do add these two flowers because they have some of that navy blue in there, and I really like the pop of that color. See on the photo on the right, I do tuck a little hint of a flower there, but I made sure that it was a contrasting color to her shirt, since there's a lot of blue in her shirt. And I'm getting close to being finished. Yeah, you can't go wrong with flowers and leaves. And these colors, I cannot get over the colors in this collection. They're so rich and so pretty, and every paper is just gorgeous. And I find myself struggling with which side to use, because this side is gorgeous, but then this side is also gorgeous. Like, I don't know who is in charge of putting this paper on the back side of that paper, but it's so hard to choose. Yeah, that's why you just have to buy more copies. You have to get more than one copy, right? So that way you can use both sides. I fussy cut out a couple more things, another little bird, a couple of more small flowers just to tuck in. I'm trying not to get too busy here. I feel like the photos have enough around them at this point. They're still visible. And I think we're almost done. The last thing I'm going to do is add my journaling, and I just kind of had to find a spot that was open and clear from the texture paste, because there's no way you can write your journaling over a bumpy texture like that. So I'm just going to do it right here on the left, and I'm going to use my black fine tip Sharpie for that. And then I do add the date after I finish the journaling, but we're almost done here. And that is the final layout. I absolutely love how this turned out. It was so much fun to make. I love using Paige's collections, her cut files, her stencils. They just go so well together. And I just cannot wait to continue making layouts with this collection. It's perfect. I absolutely love it. I did add some yellow and orange thread underneath that photo there. But yeah, I finally just had to say stop, quit adding all the gorgeous things. But here you can see all the texture from that fun stencil and the modeling paste. I took a lot of close-ups because I just usually do. But you can see the dimension from the cut file and how the letters are kind of sunk down. I just think that creates the greatest texture and interest. I love that. Anyway, more close-ups coming. Yep, they're just going to keep coming. But let me guys know. Okay, what? Let me know if you guys have any questions. There, I said it. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.